Good morning, Dr. Ida Khanna from Pediatric Board Concierge Pediatrics in Bel Air, Houston, Texas. Wanted to just come on board and talk a little bit about reintroducing foods to your child who is on the autism spectrum. Again, often when I have conversations with my families, one of the big things is that, there are children who have aversions to certain foods and they're very limited or they're picky in eating. And I always tell parents, one of the big things as a parent who has a child on the spectrum is to try and encourage all food groups. So we want the child to have protein, vegetable, and fruit. Usually if there's an aversion, it is related to texture. It's not really related to the taste of the food or what the food is, but it's really that texture that they just don't like. And so when you figure out what is the texture of the food that your child usually likes, I have a lot of kids who like dry, crunchy foods. I just basically tell the parents, you have to be a little creative. You can work with a nutritionist, but to come up with foods or present foods from all these food groups in that dry, crunchy textural form. Breading, like taking little, like you can make chicken and then bread it so that way, and then you can kind of fry it in the air fryer. So you make it healthy, but it still has that dry, crunchy texture. You can take vegetables and bake them so they become more crunchy, and they can be like little crunchy chips of fresh vegetables or fruits. Put them in the freezer for a little bit so they get a little more crunchy, or try to encourage more of the crunchy type of fruits. These are just some of the suggestions that I have versus just continuing to let the child continue to develop habits of eating a very limited diet. So I would always say, eat at the table, do a family meal, and keep reintroducing foods.